I'm with Jan McNeelan this morning, and Jan, I'm going to give you a new name. I'm going to call you the Garden Guru because you're not the extension agent anymore.
Nope, we're retired, and what's nice about it is now I get to do the gardening that we taught for so many years. I have time.
So she's going to give us tips to see what's been going on in her garden and what you should be looking for in your garden. And I think that heat this last week really caught us all off guard.
It did, and here's a fern that we've had in a basket. It looks pretty bad, and it actually, frankly, looked pretty bad before the heat, but now it looks even worse. And I guess my first recommendation would be maybe not to get one of these, but here's a lot of damage just from drought.
But
and
it'll
so
come
you
back.
clean it up, and there'll be new growth coming out.
Sure.
Give it a good water, keep it soaked, and you should be fine. And I was surprised. Actually, we were out of town during the hottest weather, and with a little bit of help from a neighbor, everything came through just fine.
Right.
So
here's another one.
Yeah, here's a raspberry. This is just a recent transplant, but that's what your plants are going to look like. But look at that nice new growth that's coming there, and it's fine. So if you don't like it, cut it off.
Right. So don't panic if that's in your yard.
Right.
Remember, for when you do get these hot times, just make sure you give good deep water, and things will be fine.
Sure, they will. And if they're not, that's what all the garden centers are for. So go to those and get something new that you wanted all this time.
That's true. Now, what else you have for us?
We've got some other plants. I just, our daughter is moving into a new house, and so I've done a whole lot of propagating and transplanting. This is a rhododendron. It's an old rhododendron that she's just going to use for a screen. Doesn't look very good right now, but the new growth will be all right. But this is just one that's been layered, and the roots just lays down in the ground and roots itself. And so all I did was cut it off, the parent plant, pot it up, and we'll keep it nice and wet. And you can even do transplanting clear into summer as long as you're willing to be dedicated enough to keep it keep it watered.
Well, it's a nice way to pass on plants to friends or family.
Sure.
And this is a beautiful clematis here. And what's with this one?
Well, this too is going to move into the new house, and it was in the greenhouse for all last winter because I never could figure out where to put it, and so it was in a gallon can, and I went to transplant it yesterday, and it was completely root bound, as hard as you get. I had to slice a knife down around the sides, hit it a lot to get it out of the pot, and then spread the roots apart, and I put it into a new pot, and it was still quite warm yesterday, and it still looks, it's going to make it okay.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
It's very happy to be out of the gallon can.
But that's a great tip for us that have container plants. You should take them out of the pot and look at them. It's a good time in spring. Maybe root prune it, add some new soil, and put it right back, and it'll be fine for the new year.
And that's what I did. And there's some laurel leaves. This is cherry leaf spot, and it is not an insect. It's a disease, and laurels are hardy and you don't have to worry about it, but it's just time to kind of take an inventory in the garden and see what damage you might have and whether or not it needs to be treated at all. And most likely you need to know what the beneficial insects are out there that are helping you take care of some of the insect problems and some of the disease problems that really aren't going to be a threat to the plant.
I know in my garden I've seen some aphids. Any quick tips on that?
Only that insecticidal soap if you need to, a hard spray with some water to get started, and if it's not really an issue and doing any major damage to the plants, you have to worry about it at all. But just keep an eye on them, and vigilance, I think, is just observing in your garden and see what you really need to do versus we have enough to do. So
that's true.
Take it easy on yourself and don't do more than you need to, and because if you're using insecticides at all, they're also taking care of those beneficial insects, which we don't want to do.
Right. Well, thanks so much for all the tips. We'll see you next month, and enjoy your garden this month.
Okay, will do.